Hi there, this is Josh from Literary Gladiators, and today I'm here with a book review. The book that I'm going to be reviewing is Live Free, Exceed Your Highest Expectations by DeVon Franklin. Franklin is a producer, currently working in his own production, Franklin Entertainment. Before that, he worked for Sony Picture Entertainment, where his projects included that of the 2010 version of The Karate Kid with Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith. But Franklin wanted to move on from that and has since created his own production in Franklin Entertainment. In addition, he is also a published author and a motivational speaker. He is a very devout Christian, which he actually devotes an entire chapter in this book pertaining to faith. But this book in itself is also in the self-help category. I won this in a Goodreads giveaway. This is an advanced reader's copy, and I just finished this, did a Goodreads written review, and am now doing a BookTube channel review for Literary Gladiators. The general purpose of this particular book has to do with living a more stress-free life, and a life that you yourself have more control over. The ability to engage in that self-assertion, to evaluate what is holding you down from living a freer life, and acting upon that. The way that this is arranged, he does a really good job arranging his chapters. They are relatively short. They are very sectioned. Even if the chapters are a little bit longer, there are sections that bring about similar but not exactly the same points that are being brought upon in the other section. And one of the things that I really liked about this book has to do with the way that he sorts out his major statements. The way that he puts together his, what you would call, thesis statements, if you're bound to writing many a research paper. He will, for instance, in the section about what are expectations, he will make mention here, for instance, when he's defining expectations or strong beliefs about what should happen, as to what defines expectations, he does it in bold, and he capitalizes each of the letters. But then he will also go on to providing his own input on what he feels should define more realistic expectations, and those that will give you a greater opportunity to live a freer life. He applies a lot of these to all kinds of situations, be it jobs, relationships, family, general challenges. He even talks about being single, which he actually gives readers a sense of confidence as with regard to the fact that just because you're single doesn't mean that you have failed. And in some cases, there are positives to being single. While I think that there are strengths with the way that this book was arranged and put together, there are certain things that really did not do it for me. Yeah, I felt that he could have gone a little bit further as far as execution was concerned. I think that he had that ability to dig deeper into problems that he brought up, but yet he did not go deep enough. I know that one of the issues that I totally agree creates that sense of stress, restriction, and really builds upon this insecurity is social media. And another huge concern, especially from what's going on today, is that of cancel culture. There are instances where you have to be very careful about what you say in any given realm, and that if you take one misstep, it could, quote unquote, get you canceled. However, the issue beyond that point is this culture it picks and chooses. For instance, domestic violence and domestic abuse are incredibly wrong. I think that people should be turned away, and it should damage their reputation if they have that ongoing abusive history. However, society has picked and chosen that some of these people are going to be blacklisted on that front, but there are others. I look at Bobby Brown and Joe Jackson. They're hailed as icons in their realms, but yet what Bobby Brown did to Whitney Houston and the ruins that it left her and their children, the fact that he lost 2 children in a way that they could have had a healthier lifestyle if they had a healthier foundation. And he had a lot to contribute to that. And when I see him on The Masked Singer being hailed as extraordinary and legendary, and it has to be a one-size-fits-all. The same thing with Joe Jackson, where what he put his kids through, and the very horrendous life that Michael Jackson lived through. He did not make good choices himself. He could have had a better father figure that did not abuse their children. And when I see him on Cops being pulled over and getting having a starstruck cop give him a bye, that doesn't contribute well to culture either. And when you reflect upon that, you get that sense that Franklin himself you get that sense that Franklin's taking on the role of an insider. He does do a good job telling stories and anecdotes about celebrities and challenges that they had to go through when it came to breaking away from something that was holding them down and seeking the ability to live a freer life. But you still have to keep in mind that Hollywood is a very dark and complex society. And I think that this is touched upon better in Catch and Kill by Ronan Farrow. And I think that when it comes to the exterior sources that are bringing people down, something like Dr. Marion Nestle's Soda Politics does a good job touching upon that subject. I think that there are things that people need to take more control of. There's things that you cannot control. You cannot, and he does touch upon the fact that you cannot control the outcome, but you can control the opportunity that you are given and going forward with that opportunity, which, the way he words it, you can control the process, but you cannot control the result. And that keeping in mind that the process is and will lead to the result. But I do feel that there are moments where the reader or the subject in this circumstance needs to be given the benefit of the doubt. And I don't think that Franklin touches upon things there. I think that this would have been a better book if it was written in the 2010s, because the 2010s was an era where there was not as much global intensity as there is in 2020 and 2021. But because with this global pandemic that's taken place, there are a lot of moments where people have lost and been brought down. And they're going to need more than just, well, you got to pick yourself back up and make the best out of it. There were people that were put into a great deal of ruin, both physically, mentally, financially, and there's a lot that can be examined, and I think that something like this and that whole idea of living free is brought into great question. But I still think that Franklin does a pretty good job bringing up different issues that pertain to people being brought down and being able to exceed that and live a more satisfactory life, I think would be a better way of putting it. The fact that people feel a greater sense of forward progress, not necessarily living a freer life, because when you are being restricted in various realms, it doesn't really feel like that you're living free. I gave this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think it would be best to get this book either at a secondhand bookstore, or when it goes secondhand, or at a reduced price. I also think that this would be good to get. It would be good to rent this at a library if you are able to do so. I personally don't think that this is a quality to pay full price for. The way that it's being presented, it's going to be $27.99. I don't think it's worth that much. I do think that there were some good points that he brought up that made me think, and it made me feel that I wasn't alone when I was thinking about some of these things, but it wasn't something that drastically changed me or moved me to the point that I would say that this is a life-changing self-help book. I do think that those that feel that they need to control more aspects of their lives and other people's lives will get benefit out of this. But aside from that, I feel that this was a pretty good book, and it could have done more to drive the hurdles that are presented home. But this was still a pretty good read, and I'm really grateful that out of the 8 books that I won in Goodreads giveaways, this was the very first one to arrive. So it was a first come, first serve for 2021 Goodreads giveaways, and I want to thank William Morrow for sending this to me to read as an advanced copy. Thank you for tuning into this video. I hope you check out some more videos from our channel, and if you really like what you see, please support our channel on Patreon. For the money that we make will allow us to provide you, the viewer, with more content. For now and as always, I encourage you to keep reading.